And now it's time for kind of a weird tier list, my friends. So as we get into this, a reminder to you all, as you enjoy this video, please consider a like, subscribe, all that good stuff. You know how it is. Today, we are ranking the Zelda games, but not by my favorite, because my favorites are kind of public knowledge. Instead, we're ranking them by how newbie friendly are they. Are they very friendly? Not too bad. Getting difficult or a tough game, bro. So this is a good place for you if you are new to Zelda to kind of have how to step into it. I'm going to start right off with Breath of the Wild. Now, Breath of the Wild, I'm going to put into not too bad. This is a game that can frustrate if you're impatient. If you're like, I hate it when my weapons break all the time. The bokoblins can whack me in one hit. It's not too bad though. Once you get past the first couple hours, the game smooths out, and there'll be a point where it gets to be a cakewalk, and you'll know how to make recipes that'll basically let Link live forever. But I don't think it is the most newbie friendly of all the games. Next up is Ocarina of Time 3D. There are some repeats in here, so please keep that in mind. I will do my best to filter those out or rank them if necessary. Ocarina of Time 3D, I will rank as the Ocarina of Time version, and I'm going to put this one into also not too bad. It might change over time, but right now I'm going to leave it not too bad. It's definitely not the easiest type of game in the Zelda series, but it does kind of let you go, and Navi helps you out the entire way. Navi will guide you and give you information as you need. And the 3D version helps out a lot with things like the water temple, especially giving you direction and better control options. Next up is Majora's Mask 3D. Now I'm going to put this one into getting difficult because Majora's Mask is a kind of a tough game. And I'm going to put the original Majora's Mask into tough game, bro. Now, Majora's Mask has a time limit in the game. Obviously, the time limit's pretty dang lenient. Like if you kind of know even an ounce of what you're doing, you shouldn't have a trouble with the time limit. But it does lead to stressful situations. It leads to you having to keep kind of notes. It has to keep you on your toes. The 3D version smooths out things and it makes things almost too easy in some parts. But it's still difficult. It's still a game that challenges you. The dungeons are a step up from Ocarina of Time in terms of complexity, in terms of understanding how you can change things by interacting with other elements. I think that they're both very good games. I think this one would kind of get into this tier a little bit, but I'm going to leave it like this just to show the difference between that. Majora's Mask 3D is a definite smoothing out of the experience of the N64 version. Twilight Princess HD and regular Twilight Princess are no different than one another. Twilight Princess HD is technically a little easier because they get rid of some of the Tears of Light and there's some cosmetic changes. But overall, as a game, I'm going to start them out in not too bad. They might get bumped up into friendly. They're not as handholdy as some games. They do let you go a lot, and they're very long games. But they're also games that Link doesn't take a lot of damage. It's pretty hard to die on some of those bosses. In that sense, it'd probably bump up into friendly, but I'm going to leave them right here because I feel like they're around the same level as Ocarina of Time. Next up is Four Swords. Now there's three different versions of Four Swords here. For the sake of, I'm going to do this. I'm going to start. I'm just going to make a new tier real quick. Oh geez, I might have just ruined everything. Oh, yep, definitely ruined everything. Add row below, okay? And this tier shall be called repeats, so we know that not to ignore them. So Four Swords Anniversary Edition. Four Swords is the bonus mode that was included on the Links to the Past cartridge for Game Boy, later re-released for the 3DS, made pretty similar. This is very beginner friendly, but I almost want to say, I'm going to preface this. You might be saying, MC, it's beginner friendly. I'll play it. It's not a good Zelda experience. It does not get you what you want in terms of Zelda experiences. So, it's a multiplayer side attraction. Oracle of Ages goes into getting difficult. Oracle of Ages has a lot of tricky puzzles. It's a Capcom game with a lot of tricky puzzles, a lot of rooms that are kind of obscure, and a lot of story moments that are a little obfuscated into where you're supposed to go. It's one of those games where a guidebook is pretty helpful, but it's not as hard as some of the other games we're going to touch on here. Now, Oracle Seasons, though, does go into not too bad. As compared to Ages, it's just a simpler game. It's a shorter game. It's a simpler game. The story isn't as messy. Oracle Seasons, not too bad. I enjoy it a lot. Zelda 1, I am floating between getting difficult and tough game, bro. I'm going to put it into tough game, bro, just because if you do not have a guidebook, you will have a long time of pain, a long time of sadness. Zelda is a game that, like Zelda 1, if you have an early guide and you know before you go into level 1, before you enter the first dungeon, you should have the white sword, you'll be fine. But how do you get the white sword before level 1? You got to go find heart pieces of heart containers. And to get those, you gotta like know where all the bombable secret walls are. You know, you have to get bombs. You know where all the secret rupee locations are, the stashes, and you know you can get things like the rings and the candle and all that. And there's just a bunch of stuff you can do in Zelda that you need to know the book. You need to know the book if you want to beat in any reasonable amount of time. If you want to play Zelda 1, like what's it called, vanilla, pure, where you don't have the internet and you've never seen anything and you don't use hints or a Twitch chat to help you out, it's going to take you forever. You're going to be upset because you'll have to bomb every single wall. You know, as an adult, and for many people who've played Zelda 1, they're like, oh, it's not that bad of a game. It's like, no, but just put yourself in the vision of you've never played the game before. You don't know where any of those secret doors are that you ever, you know, anybody's played Zelda 1, it's like they know where the secret doors are. If you don't know where the secret doors are, the game becomes so much harder. If you don't know where the bombable walls are in the dungeons, it becomes so much harder. You're going to be going through bombs the entire time. You'll have no bombs, ever. Hard game. A Link Between Worlds is extremely beginner-friendly. It's a 3DS game. It's not that hard. It's not that hard. It does have some challenging moments, and it does have some challenging areas, and I think that they do a great job in balancing that. There is a hero mode as well, for those who want more of a challenge, but even that's not horrible. A Link Between Worlds is a game meant to be appealing to both fans of A Link to the Past, which is one of the more tough titles, I would say, but also not be beginner unfriendly. It's a pretty friendly game to beginners. Totally recommend. A Link to the Past, you may have heard me allude to it. I'm putting that into getting difficult. This game is kind of similar to Zelda 1, where there are a lot of secrets, a lot of hidden things, a lot of things that you got to kind of plot out. But the game also has a map system built in. It has characters who talk to you and give you more less cryptic hints on what to do or how to find things. And by natural exploration, you'll notice things like the bombable walls look like bombable walls. The items that you need to beat the game are in clear paths towards beating the game. There's a few less easy or telegraphed things in that game, but overall, it's better than Zelda 1 in that regard, and it's getting difficult, but it's not too bad. Next up is, you know what? I'm just... Majora's Mask really is floating between these two. Four Swords Adventures is a game for the GameCube exclusively, Mad. One of the I think the only Zelda game that has not been modernized in any fashion. Like you can play Zelda 1 on your Switch. You cannot play Four Swords Adventures on your Switch or your Wii U. You'd have to go to the Wii to use backwards compatibility with the GameCube. Four Swords Adventures is extremely easy. You won't have trouble with that. The hardest level in that game is called Village of the Blue Maiden, and it's more of a puzzle level, and it can be a little bit confusing, and a walkthrough might help you out there, but it is possible to solve by listening to the characters in the game. Four Swords Adventures is boring a lot of times. I love it. I love Four Swords Adventures, but it doesn't tickle the Zelda bone quite like Ocarina of Time or A Link to the Past. But it is very beginner friendly. It hands out one-ups like candies. Next up is Link's Awakening, and as you can see, this list has not been updated to include the the Switch remake. And the Switch remake, by the way, does make the game easier, with better blocking options, more buttons for weaponry equipment, map system. There's a ton of quality life fixes to make Link's Awakening on Switch the easier version. And I'm gonna put this one into not too bad. The bosses are a joke in Link's Awakening. The bosses get easier as time goes on. There's one boss in the game that is notorious, to, at least to me, as being probably one of the easiest Zelda bosses in history. Link's Awakening is an easy game overall. It's not always super clear what you got to do next, and there's a lot of hunting and looking around. But with a few of those hints, you're fine. Like it's little things like, when do you go get Mambo's Mambo, or the frog song. It's not that hard of a game. If anything, it's floating between these two tiers. But I'm gonna put it there. Ocarina of Time normal. We will not be ranking that. Do we have any? What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do this. I'm going to put repeats because I don't feel like this is floating. It's floating. Phantom Hourglass. Phantom Hourglass I'm going to put into not too bad. A lot of people say put it into friendly easily because it is not a hard game. It is a frustrating game at times. You are playing with a touch control. And for that reason, I'm going to put Spirit Tracks in the same tier. Spirit Tracks is a little bit easier than Phantom Hourglass, except for that last part of Tower of Spirits. But I don't want to talk about that. I don't want to talk about that at all. But these games aren't hard. They're not hard. In fact, they're very good pickups. Pickups for a new fan. So I'd recommend them early on. But as your first Zelda game, I think Phantom Hourglass and Spirit Tracks are great games for a Zelda fan who has already started getting into it. And I know some people, like my good buddy Campy, his first Zelda game was Phantom Hourglass. I don't think there's anything wrong with them, but I think you'll have a more likely to enjoy Zelda experience if you play them, maybe third, fourth game. Skyward Sword is so easy. It does have some motion control gimmicks, and demise can be a little bit challenging for your first time around. But Skyward Sword tells you everywhere where to go. It is on rails. It is an on rails Zelda game, as close as you can get to it without it, literally being on rails. It has no trouble. And a very similar thing goes for Minish Cap. Minish Cap is very easy. It has some challenging fights late in the game. The end boss does have some challenge to it, but it's very similar to Link Between Worlds. It kind of lets you walk through it. It's not too bad. And similar, I'm going to take Wind Waker HD instead of normal Wind Waker and put it into newbie friendly. It's very hard to die in Wind Waker, and it does also tell you where to go. The most confusing part about Wind Waker is the fact that it does have the Triforce quest in it, which is a little bit difficult if you don't pick up the map from Tingle in the mailbox. But again, out of all the 3D Zelda titles, Wind Waker and Skyward Sword are absolutely the easiest to play and get into. Adventure of Link, everybody knows it goes down here into tough game, bro. It is notorious for having a leveling system. It's notorious for having Death Mountain, a section of the game very early, which is very challenging for new players. This game has a steep learning curve. It's a learning curve that once you get past the learning curve, amazing game. But until you learn that curve, it can be a real slog. It can be a real slog early on as you sit there bashing your head into a wall for an hour trying to figure out how to defeat like Iron Knuckles more effectively. I love Adventure of Link. And last is Triforce Heroes, which I'm gonna put in not too bad. If you're playing single player, the Drablands challenges would go down here. The Drablands challenges go down here sometimes because they're just stupid and frustrating, but it's not too bad. Yeah, I mean, I guess what do you expect here? So the toughest games are Zelda 1 and Zelda 2. Not a big surprise. And the most noob-friendly games in terms of difficulty are A Link Between Worlds, Skyward Sword, the Minish Cap, the Wind Waker HD, Four Swords Adventures, and Four Swords. These two at the end I would not recommend as your first Zelda title, but they technically go up here. If I had to give you a recommendation for the first Zelda title you should play, it's probably Link Between Worlds. Link Between Worlds is a good start to 2D Zelda. Wind Waker's a good start to 3D, and from there, I think you can launch board either into more Skyward Sword or Minish Cap, depending on how you like it. But alternatively, anything in this tier would probably be good for you. Triforce Heroes falls into the same type of categories, Four Swords and Four Swords Adventures, where they're a little bit, it's a bit odd of an experience. So if you're looking for more Wind Waker HD, you pop over to Twilight Princess HD or Ocarina of Time. If you're looking for more Link Between Worlds, you pop over to Link's Awakening or Oracle Seasons. If you're looking for something similar, but you wanna really rock the boat, Breath of the Wild. Anyways, let me know what you think. Use the comments for what they're meant for. Tell me what you think. If there's other tier lists you want me to do, I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.